The second half of our countdown begins in Cedar City, Utah, where 25-year-old Tristan Lamoureux awaits sentencing.
He was convicted of killing his 19-year-old wife.
You've got family members in the courtroom, and the feeling is incredibly tense.
The defendant was surrounded by at least 4 court officers, so they're very well aware that there's a situation that may transpire.
The victim's brother, 28-year-old Jason Wilson, gets up to speak on the family's behalf.
The danger of these victim impact statements is multifold. First, because we're at sentencing, so we know the guy did it. Second, you bring people just too close together. They can see each other's eyes.
While Mr. Wilson is pouring his heart out, he glances over at the defendant. What's the defendant doing? He's just rocking in his chair like it's Sunday afternoon watching a football game.
The brother kind of jerks a step forward, as if, I'm gonna get you.
Mr. Wilson retreats briefly, and then it's on. He's going through bailiffs, whoever he has to get to the guy who killed his sister.
Officers were very quick and not only subduing the brother, but also restraining Mr. Lamoureux and getting him away from the scene.
Officers take the brother out of the courtroom and charge him with disorderly conduct. The defendant is later sentenced to 15 years to life in prison.
As a big brother, I'm sure he feels helpless and wishes that he could have done more to protect his sister.
The father's anger boils over when he came face to face with his son's killer. Happened at the sentencing in Ohio after the suspect pleaded guilty to murdering the 28-year-old man. The victim's father, overwhelmed with emotion, leaping across a table and choking the man who took his son. Minutes later, it's over. Deputies clearing the courtroom and dragging the bloody father out in restraints. A show in a courtroom. While the killer was sentenced to 33 years to life in prison, the father later released.
Scene of a man who murdered a 6-year-old girl as she slept. And today, neither side could control their emotions.
Sentence you to the maximum allowed by law, 15 years incarceration. Quiet.
Moments after Chavez was condemned to prison, you can hear Chavez's family screaming in protest.
No, Your Honor. Thank you. No, Your Honor.
As the Chavez family gets even more rowdy, police push them out of the courtroom. Then Chavez's mother talks directly to the man her son was aiming for that summer night in 2008. Jasmine Garcia's uncle. That sent Jeffrey Sanchez over the edge. This was the damage done. The tension started building when the dead girl's mother spoke to the judge 20 minutes earlier.
I'm lost. 2 men were in court today, both involved in an early morning fight Sunday morning that police say led to the death of a 17-year-old girl who was 2 months pregnant. First time inside the courtroom today where things became very heated.
As soon as 20-year-old Eric Del Bono was escorted into the courtroom, a fight broke out, and the filled courtroom had to be evacuated. You can hear the guards yelling for everyone to get out. It was Eric's father who police say started the fight. He was arrested and charged with contempt of court.
He saw his son, he saw his face, and he just bugged out, you know. That was it. He just so upset to see him like that.
Everyone flooded outside of the courthouse as state police showed up to investigate.
Center City, Utah, where 25-year-old Tristan Lamoureux awaits sentencing.
He was convicted of killing his 19-year-old wife.
While Mr. Wilson is pouring his heart out, he glances over at the defendant. What's the defendant doing? He's just rocking in his chair like it's Sunday afternoon watching a football game. Mr. Wilson retreats briefly, and then it's on.
Officers were very quick and not only subduing the brother, but also restraining Mr. Lamoureux and getting him away from the scene.
During the sentencing for a 3-year-old girl's death, a brawl broke out in a Detroit courtroom when the girl's father attacked Clifford Thomas, the man responsible for killing his daughter, Jamila. The courtroom was cleared and rescheduled.
Shock and despair in this courtroom as the father of a young murder victim lunged at his daughter's convicted serial killer. Van Terry, father to 18-year-old Sherelda, addressed the court after the sentencing, and his emotions erupted into anger. Michael Madison was sentenced to the death penalty after murdering 3 women near his Cleveland apartment. Throughout his 6-week trial, the only emotion Madison displayed was an evil grin, which could have only made it harder on the girls' families.
But no matter what you think about them, you had to feel awful for that attorney who got knocked out cold by his own client in a Kentucky courtroom this week. Well, the good news is public defender Doug Crickmer is out of the hospital, and he's back at the very courtroom where it all happened for us this morning. Doug, good morning to you.
Will. Mr. Hayford been in jail for some time. He's looking at some significant jail time if he's convicted. He's got some new charges coming at him. He's got some anger management issues.
I'd say he has definite anger management.
Chaos erupts at the suspect's court appearance just a short time ago.
Eyewitness News cameras rolled as officers restrained a person at Matthew Komrowski's arraignment.
Now, we've been working this story since last week. Komrowski is accused of killing a Cranston woman and then setting a fire to cover it up.
Komrowski, who had tight security after being uncooperative during his bail hearing at the Cranston police station over the weekend, agitated the victim's family when he told the judge they would help pay for his bail.
Yeah, I think their family is going to help me.
As Komrowski, who entered no plea on murder and kidnapping charges, was being let out of the courtroom, a man believed to be the victim's friend or relative reached over the rail and lunged at him, causing a ruckus.
Thank you.
Williamson is about to be led out of court. You can see his public defender, Dan Hall, just to the left of Williamson. This is what happens next.
Next thing I knew, I felt a blow to my mouth and I hit the floor.
It was over in just seconds as courtroom constables quickly subdued the 30-year-old Williamson.